season. The post-Carmelo era got off to a rocky start last year as the Knicks racked up 53 losses, not including their franchise player, Kristaps Porzingis, who went down in February with a torn ACL. Porzingis won't be available for the start of the David Fizdale era, which begins with questions about the point guard, an intriguing rookie in Kevin Knox, and the rapt attention of New York's rabid fans. What to expect from the next phase of the rebuild in the Big Apple next. Hi again, everybody. We're in a New York state of mind. 10 points on the Knicks. What you need to know about the Knickerbockers ahead of the 18-19 season. Here with Drew Gooden, former Knick, Greg Anthony. I'm Matt Weiner. Good to have you with us. Point number one, guys, was pretty easy. It's the condition of number 6, Kristaps Porzingis, who tore the ACL in his left knee February 6th. No real estimate at this point on when he'll be available, in part because the injury is so unusual for somebody of his size and his frame at 7'3". But if you're a Knicks fan, what can you reasonably expect and hope for from Porzingis this season?
I mean, how much more bad news can Knicks fans actually have right now at this point? Not having him available will be a death blow to start the season off, especially for Coach Fizdale coming in for his first year. So I think that's big. That our antennas up right now as Knicks fans and the organization around Porzingis.
No doubt about it. I do think you want to be cautious with him in terms of his rehab, but ultimately, he's still the face of the franchise. Your hopes are going to be pinned on him. And in the Knicks fan base with what they've gone through, this millennium, I think they're willing to be patient. I think also there's excitement because they did a great job with this new regime with the draft. Kevin Knox looks to be the real deal. Getting the big kid Robinson, who has a chance to be an impact player in a couple years, is huge for them. And so I think they have the pieces. Fizdale, I think, is the perfect coach for that culture. I think more importantly, in a weird way, it could be good if he's not around till, say, January, because you're going to allow some of these other guys and get a sense of who they really are. Sometimes when you play with a great player, and I think Porzingis has kind of established himself as a great player, it can mask deficiencies of others. Mm-hmm. And now with him not being there, we're going to get a chance for the Knicks front office to really evaluate these guys. Is Ntilikina going to be ready to take the next step? You brought in Moutier and Burke and all these other guys. You're going to get a chance to get a sense of who are the guys we're going to build around moving forward, because they got a lot of cap space in the upcoming offseason, and this is going to be a critical year, I think, for them to really start to put the foundation together for a run in the future.
Well, you know how New York works, and the New York media, they're going to look at every angle of this story. One of the angles in terms of Porzingis is the contractual situation with him being eligible for an extension worth $157 million. All indications at this point are that the Knicks will probably wait and deal with that next summer, but that's a thing, that's something to watch this season.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. I think Porzingis' camp wants to wait.
Right.
Because he's been there now. This is his third year. And he's dealt with a lot of futility. And he needs to find out if he has trust in that organization as to whether or not they can build a contender. So, I don't think it's just the narrative that the Knicks want to wait. I think Porzingis' camp wants to find out if this is going in the right direction, right? I mean, he's got a new coach this year,
right,
a new GM, a lot of new teammates, but still not a lot of wins to look forward to this season. So if I'm him, I think he's pretty well established that he's going to be a max guy. I want to find out what my options are moving forward before I'm ready to commit long-term to that organization.
Now, I'm going to jump to the flip side as the management and what they're thinking. I know Porzingis camp is thinking one way of strategically placing him in the best situation possible. But I think before Porzingis went down, I think one of the biggest question marks were, can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
Right.
And we all talked about that. And then when it became reality, when he got hurt, I mean, that was a death blow to the organization. So now I think they're kind of looking, hey, you're going to wait and see how much money you're going to sign for later on next summer. But, hey, we actually got to see if you can bounce back from this injury, and let alone stay healthy to play through that contract. So I think from a management standpoint, there's a magnifying glass on Porzingis this year.
It's interesting. If he comes back and he can play it all one way or the other, the money's going to be there for him sooner or later for Kristaps Porzingis. The Knicks say KP has been involved in practice, even if he's not on the floor, and He and the rest of the team get a feel for their new head coach, David Fizdale, who comes with championship pedigree from his days as a Miami assistant, and already his own signature soundbite.
We don't get the respect that these guys deserve because Mike Conley doesn't go crazy. He has class, and he just plays the game. But I'm not going to let them treat us that way. You know, I know Pop's got pedigree, and I'm a young rookie, but they're not going to rook us. That's unacceptable. That was unprofessional. My guys dug in that game and earned the right to be in that game, and they did not even give us a chance.
All right, thank you.
Take that for data.
One of my favorite clips.
Never gets old.
No.
Fizdale was hired to replace Jeff Hornacek, who is out after a couple of years in New York. And it's been a bit of a revolving door at Madison Square Garden over the last few years or decade or so. What can Fizz do to stabilize things and get this thing on the right track?
I think, first of all, they did a great job of finding the right coach for the culture and what's going on right now in New York. I think he did a tremendous job in Memphis with those guys. It was a short term there, but I think coming back in New York, he'll have a chance to really redeem himself with the younger team. You know, he used a phrase of not being rooked, but he's going to be going through a lot of that this season with this young team, with referees and not gaining that respect, especially from New York fans. So I think he's coming in as the coach that they wanted, and I think he's going to do a great job with this group.
Yeah, and you know, look, I thought he got shafted in Memphis. He should not have been fired. I think he did in his short tenure prove that he is, you know, worthy of being a head coach. And I do think he brings the right mindset, the personality to that group. And for the first time in a long time, the Knicks got their first choice. You know, they got the guy they wanted to lead this resurgence. And I think what's really going to be important is the system he devises and puts in place. Remember, this team went through the triangle, then the quasi-triangle, then the rectangle. You know,
Lots of shapes involved.
Yeah. So, like, what's the identity going to be? You know, getting Kevin Knox, who I think's got a chance. I mean, if those two guys, he and Porzingis, are able to reach their potential, man, you talk about a hell of a tandem at those bookends on the wing position with their overall versatility. So, I mean, they've got, again, a reason to be optimistic moving forward. And if he can develop the backcourt, if he can develop that bench and create an identity there where these guys have an expectation to win, you know, coaching is critical in terms of instilling confidence into a young core group, which they are. So he's going to have a challenge, but, boy, I tell you, it's one he's going to welcome, because if you can win there, boy, it's going to be special for he and that Knicks fan base right now that is salivating for anything positive.
Well, and they love what they've seen out of Knox so far, Knicks fans. He was the number 9 overall pick. Great in Summer League. I know it's Summer League, but first team all Las Vegas Summer League, averaged 21 a game in his short time there. Does he have star potential?
Yes, and if you just go back a year prior, remember there was another guy that was great in Summer League, playing for the Jazz now, that, you know, ended up turning out pretty well in Donovan Mitchell. And I think that Kevin Knox in a lot of ways can have that kind of impact because he's already got a defined skill set. He's got the athleticism. With his size and length, he can play on the perimeter, and he's going to embrace the moment. I think this is a young man that has a chance to be a cornerstone of a franchise. Now, 19 years old, youngest kid I think that was in the draft. It might be a couple years before he's ready to have the kind of impact we saw from, say, a Donovan Mitchell. But I do think they know that this kid's got a chance. That's why I think there's a lot of excitement and some anxiousness to see him alongside Porzingis to see how they could complement one another.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of pressure on a young fella getting drafted in New York. I heard Zeke on one of the shows say he has him for Rookie of the Year, you know, and it's going to be a tough road to get Rookie of the Year in the Knicks organization. But let me tell you, he's going to have an opportunity to play. I like him. He was a freshman of the year last year in the SEC. He has length. I think the sky's the limit for him. He kind of reminds me of Otto Porter, but I think with a better jump shot at a younger age. So he has an opportunity, I think, not to be Rookie of the Year, but be a good rookie.
Well, and if he gets the fans on his side, that's a win, right?
And he will.
York, and there's no reason to think he can't.
Porzingis did it. Remember, they booed Porzingis
exactly
on draft night, and he ended up winning them over pretty handily.
All right, much more to get to on the New York Knicks. There are 8 million stories in the naked city, and it seems nearly as many point guards competing for minutes with the city's NBA club. How Coach Fizz can best deploy his stable of ones next.